something we haven't brought up at all. Is there a role that our government locally or beyond should be playing in the conversation we're having here?
Stay out of the way.
Okay.
I mean, create policy that makes it easier for entrepreneurs to do the work that they need to do. I look at a program like Arch Grants that really is economic development, right? They're buying companies and talent to locate in downtown in the St. Louis region. They're incentivizing them to come down there. The more that we could make that possible on a larger scale, I think the better we're going to be.
There are also things like the Missouri Technology Corporation, which invests directly into startups. They've helped Arch Grants raise some money. So certainly, stay out of the way is a valid point, but then also they do put money directly into the game too.
Keeping the kids that are graduating from college in St. Louis is a big deal, and SLU is doing a really good job. The government's doing a really good, the city government, getting engaged with the students. The students just had a competition at SLU. The winners had to go pitch the mayor and his administration, and the kids were saying, "This is amazing, I just pitched the mayor of St. Louis a business idea," and I think that makes them want to stay here more than just staying on campus, graduating, and fleeing.
Another accessible CEO.
Yes.
I think government's main role is to solve the problems and address the issues that are important to the entrepreneurial community. Education is one. I mean, the community colleges and the high schools and the universities could turn out the talent that these firms need. That will go a long way.
I'll say one of the things that I think younger entrepreneurs don't think about, but is a big issue when we're talking about bringing in the investors and keeping investors, is our state income tax. It's a controversial issue, but the fact is a lot of our wealthiest citizens leave the state when they retire, and they move to places like Florida that don't have income tax. We actually need that money to stay in St. Louis because those are the people who have the greatest capacity to invest in our startups. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about that because they don't make enough money to pay any state income tax. But they're all fueled by people who do. And we are really losing out to some of our wealthiest citizens to states like Tennessee, Texas, and Florida. And I'm tired of seeing influential investors leave. And I know quite a few have, because when they stay here and get connected to our startup community, they're going to want to be a big part of it and invest in it.
Speaking of staying and leaving, not to pick on the journalist, but just for one more second, any big names that have stuck around or have taken off?
Jim McKelvey.
Square.
Stayed. Yes.
Oh,
Go right ahead.
But Jim McKelvey
Jim McKelvey is a resident of Florida.
I wasn't going to say that out loud.
He is. I mean, let's be honest. Jim McKelvey is one of the biggest proponents of this city. He's my partner. I love him.
Right.
In a plutonic kind of way. But the fact is, for whatever reason, he does not keep official residence here, and he is out of St. Louis, out of the state of Missouri, 6 months or more out of the year.
But he's probably the exception that keeps coming back.
Well, Square is certainly
But we need
one
him
of the
here
highest.
12 months out of the year.
Square is certainly one of the highest profile examples of companies that have left. And there's either way. Answers is a huge company that has stayed in St. Louis. They're on the loop. There's either or.
The island gets left out every time down here.
It's okay. We feel the love.
But I'll just open up a blanket question here. You've been sitting back there hearing us talk. What's on your mind when it comes to the pulse of the startup scene in St. Louis?
Well, one of the things on my mind, and I commend the Nine Network and everybody here, is that it's a very rich and balanced discussion. I think that we've talked about a lot of different issues and that it's very complex. And I think that willingness to have the conversation is very, very important. But just on your last question, I think a company that doesn't get mentioned a lot that's been very inspirational to me is Worldwide Technology. I think what Dave Stewart has done has been phenomenal. And strategically being in St. Louis and staying in St. Louis and building a fantastic company, I think is very inspirational.
Was there anything in St. Louis that had anything to do with having an idea one day and winning a competition the next day?
You mean, was there...
or the fact that the competition was even here. I'm just curious if there's a St. Louis component. Could you have done what you did with Diversify Us anywhere, aside from the fact that perhaps you would have had the inspiration given the events here?
I think that it could be developed anywhere, but you do need a reason to conclude the things that I concluded. It was because of the current situation and not wanting things to, just fearing the worst and not wanting our city to be in such a, calamitous situation. So, but I think that could happen anywhere. But it's because you need this kind of thing anywhere. The history, our city has a unique history, but it's not so unique that other cities don't share something about it. Lots of cities have 100-year history of racial segregation and so forth. We could talk, this could be anywhere, but it is here though.
Show us the future 1 year after winning the Startup Challenge for you. What will it look like?
Hopefully it's a team that's expanded greatly, and we created a couple jobs, and we're gearing up to enter into some clinical trials.
What do you need from anything you need from anyone at this table to help make that happen?
We always need money and publicity helps lead to the additional funding. Just spreading the word and letting people know that what we're doing is both important and that we have the right technology platform to make it happen.
It seems like that's a message that I hear a lot, that there's more than just money to be made in the startup world. Has the entrepreneur changed? That there also is, you say your work is important. I feel like there's a sense of commitment and duty to the community. Is that just the way the entrepreneur is wired now?
I think it is. I don't know
Or
if
is
it's
that
now.
or
but
is that a response to what consumers demand?
I think entrepreneurs are just passionate about what they've come up with, whether it's a new idea or a new way to do something. I think we're a passionate bunch that aren't easily told no. So I think that's probably always been the case in entrepreneurs.
I always look at, for my organization, Venture Cafe, I always say that innovation is a process to improve the human condition, right? I mean, if we're going to fix the ills of our society, be it education, government, healthcare, we're going to need to innovate. And so, yes, innovation might lead to entrepreneurship, but innovation could lead to better student learning outcomes. It could lead to a better served populace. So yeah, I think there is this overarching idea that innovation and entrepreneurship can lead to a better humanity.
I also would add that entrepreneurship, I believe, is critical to changing the narrative of St. Louis, especially at a time when there's a lot of negativity about Ferguson and about the way we calculate our crime statistics and what that says about us to the world. What I find very interesting is my students at WashU who are engaged in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, who are interning at these companies, who are working downtown, they actually know a very different St. Louis than my parents know. If you talk to a lot of average St. Louisans, they know St. Louis as this, semi-Rust Belt, Midwestern, average city. But if you talk to the young people that are involved in the entrepreneurship scene, they see it as a dynamic, exciting, growing, diverse. You're absolutely right. I actually met a young lady a couple months ago from Austin. She moved to St. Louis without a job to get a job as a programmer. And which is one of the hottest, most things you need in the world, right, is the programmers. And I said, why did you move here? And she said, because Austin is already established. She's like, I wanted to be part of a city that was a startup itself. And she actually moved from Austin, Texas, which is known as a great startup community, because she wanted to be part of the story that was unfolding in St. Louis. That is what our young people are seeing right now, and that is so critical to changing the perception.
We can't
of what
leave it
St.
on a
Louis
better
is.
note than that.